Hello everyone. So this is my video of our demo today, and I don't know, we'll see how it goes because it usually takes me a longer time. Oh, sorry, I'm struggling to get my paper towel here. Let me get that first. There we go. It usually takes me a while longer than, you know, the little starts that I demo, and I might want to take this further. So we'll see how long this is. I might stop and then do part of it as a fast, sort of a fast-paced video. This is just medium. You can see I have a toned canvas here. I've just toned it with some ochre just to give it some color, because so much of this painting that we're doing today is white. And so there's a lot to kind of get to. And I'm just going to use the medium there just to mark a center for me. Just I'm upping the colors a little bit more than I normally would. But why not? It's kind of interesting. In this type of painting, we're doing frontal lighting, and it's one that, it's interesting, there's a lot of bias towards this type of painting. And a lot of people who say, oh, it's not good, just don't do it. But when I was researching it, I tried to keep an open mind. And I found, as you saw in our slideshow, I found some absolutely amazing examples of this type of lighting. So I'm really excited to try this and see what I can do with it. So right now I'm just looking. The temptation is, when you get something as complex as a peony, is to draw and spend a lot of time, you know, on the drawing, and then you have the shapes, but then you lose that freshness of it. And so with this, I'm going to just be using my brush to draw. And I'm just finding these petal shapes and laying them down. Okay, so this one, it's kind of good when you're doing peonies to think about that middle part of the peony shape as a ball. That's what I see it as. And then build up around from there. Okay. As I'm looking closely at my model today, and I'm, just putting the colors that I see. This is going to be a very direct painting. I'm going to try to make it so that every single brushstroke counts. Every single brushstroke matters. Okay, so here we go. There's a little red leaf. And I could start with that. What this looks like white, but it's not white. It actually has a little bit of yellow and ochre in it. Okay, so where are we going? There's I kind of put those ones, kind of jumped the gun on those back ones. Let's just make them a little bit blue. So when you're working with something like this, there's very little modeling because there's very little shadow. So you're going to have to rely, we're going to have to make sure that we're relying on our color theory. And it's made more complex, of course, because the color theory that we're relying on is all tinted as well. And so we know that we have to kind of pay attention to what tints that we're setting against what tints. I'm going to just repaint over that one. I didn't like that shape. They were too square. And join that one. As with most of this type of lighting, what you're going to see is that the shading is on the outside and then the inside becomes sort of bleached out. I like that yellow in there, but, probably it's not the right thing for if I was being really true to this type of painting, but I think I'm going to leave it. We'll see. I might come back and do some more with it. I don't know. There's a bit of a turn on the side here, so I'm just going to take a sort of a grayed out. Oops, do I have? Oh yeah, I do. I have a little container of gray gesso sitting on the side here because of another project I was working on. So Might as well use it. It's there. If you don't have the gray gesso, you could just put a touch of black in it. All of these, there's very little modeling in this type of painting when you look at the flower. It's like when you look at Manet's faces or Matisse's faces, there's, you know, it's all kind of bleached out. And that's kind of a characteristic that we see with it. There we go. As I have this color on my brush, I'm going around and saying, oh yeah, I see a little bit of that there. And then I'm just going to be painting it. I'm going to try to keep this as fresh as I possibly can. So that's a goal that I've set for myself. And you know, if you need to draw it in, you could have taken watered down paint and a brush and just you know, work out some of those angles that you see in it. So if you need to do that, you know, that's okay. I just basically started painting. I just dove right in. I thought, why not? And I'm looking for value change. That's really important in here. It's subtle, but it's still there. There's actually this grayer tone here, and there's just, actually, I'm gonna use a bit thicker paint there. So when I'm using thinner paint, it's just thinned out with medium and maybe just a little bit of water. Not too much water. Okay, so I'm going to take some of that yellow. So I've got some puddles here. I don't know if you can see that. It's white on a white palette. But I had some puddles, and I'm just mixed them together so that, you know, there's a little bit of that color that was in the top there. It's still in this mix. There's a bit of pink, there's a bit of that yellow, and I might come back and kind of jazz that up a bit. Haven't decided yet. I'm squinting and analyzing the petals so that I'm seeing them all as one big shape. I'm not trying to paint, you know, every individual thing, because sometimes I can join them and that's more effective. I'm looking in here, and every once in a while I see a highlight, and so I'm going to come in with some of my yellows, and again, really, really light, because I do want this to look like it's going to be a white. I don't want it to be all these unrelated colors, although I see those colors in there. I want them to be kind of subtle, kind of to sit back. Okay, and there's a little bit of a highlight. I'm just fixing the drawing shape that I see there. There's an edge here that I'm going to just pick up and then let go. I don't know. I almost think that that's a place to stop there. There are some deeper shadows in there. But as we said in our instructions, the shadows now become a line. And so I see some lines in that flower, and I'm just going to be putting them in. I'm just rattling around with my brushes here. Okay, just double checking also that, yeah, nice shadow there. Okay, there we go. Rattling around with my brushes because I wanted to grab one of these, and this is kind of a beat up old thing, but it's called the liner, and you'll notice that the bristles are long, and because of that, it will give me a lovely, lovely line. Now, as I said, I saw some lines in there, but the lines aren't black. I mean, if you wanted to abstract it, you could do that. I see them as sort of blue-gray, though, so maybe even a bit of purple in them. This is a new color that's sitting here. I should tell you about. It's Terra Rosa. It was one that was recommended. Actually, that one was given to me, and it was like, here, try this. And it sat unused for the longest time, and then I pulled it out, and now it's like, look, you get these lovely mauvey grays with it. It's quite beautiful. Okay, and I'm just gonna pull that to the tip. And then very, very purposely, I'm going to add, whoop, that might be a little bit even too dark. So I can lighten it a few ways. One is just to put more medium in it so it's transparent. And the other way is just stick a little bit of some of my puddle color in here. And let's see, that's good. I'm going to try to do, oh, that's good because I like the way that it goes dark to light here. Let me try that again because what I want to do is just, I don't want it to be a labored line. I almost took it out, but that's okay. And then behind this one, I see this line coming up this way. And then, so this becomes a lot like how Japanese or sumi painting is. So that's every mark that you make in that is considered kind of precious, kind of important. And the marks are created by the pressure on the brush. So you want a really good brush for this. So. And this is a good thing for you to practice, you know, just playing around with your brushes to see, hey, you know, what makes them work? What can I get out of those brushes? Up here, I see there's this shadow. I see here a line again. Shadow is kind of secondary in this type of work simply because it's pushed behind. So because it's pushed behind, you don't really see that much of it. You know, something I'm going to put just a little bit of black on here. Now, as I said when I was giving you the slideshow, or I think I said, because I haven't given it to you yet, but one of the things as I was researching this, I started looking up people like, well, the master, the one we got the most out of this is actually our friend Manet. And Manet is just, he's an amazing, amazing artist. Look at how that becomes, that whole shadow there becomes a line. And you want to pay attention to how it's, that it's thick and thin. You don't want to have it all the same. And I would pull off the black. I wouldn't, you know, although in the, well, you know what, that's going to be a choice up to you actually. Because in the picture it is quite dark. But I've decided I'm going to just pull back a little bit here. I said here I wanted a little bit more. And now that, you know, I've put it here, and just take a little bit more. There's a lighter one line. And so you're, because of the lighting, it's changed everything to line. All the shadows become lines. Now there's another thing that we're going to be doing, and we're going to be looking at how line is used. What the frontal lighting, to my mind, the other thing that it really emphasizes is pattern. As one of the reasons today when I set this up, I included that pattern because I thought, wow, that's kind of cool. And as I said, when you're looking at those Manets and you start looking at the Matisses and you realize, yeah, that was really important in his work. And you can see how one is kind of leading to the other one. And so it makes sense to me that that's because of the way that he observed things and the way he looked and the way it was lit. And you kind of, you know, it makes sense when you see it. All right, now I haven't decided, you know, in some ways I really love that yellow, and I've got, you know, in the photo it's not like that at all, but in front of me it's probably a little bit of that yellow. It's probably not as dark, but I might decide just to keep it because I like it. But the other thing is if I put, there's all these little funny, strong accents of yellow here, and I have this feeling that when I put these in, what's going to happen is it's going to kind of push those other things back. And then there's this beautiful red in here. Again, because I'm using this brush, you know, I'm jumping in pretty quick with a small brush, eh? Some of you shaking your heads. You might be going, oh, gee, that's what she tells us not to do. You know, it always is, you know, what you feel is good. What you are thinking is most useful at the time. You know, I might come back in. I just want that has such this beautiful, oops, yeah, there, that's better. This beautiful little red. It's more of a magenta-based red. So I'm going to stick that in. Now I'm getting kind of fussy there, so maybe what I should do is stop. Just before I stop here, I just want to do, you know, and I might come back to the petals. You know what I always tell you guys is you never finish anything at one time. You always kind of go back and forth. But there are some beautiful petals in here that have this lovely red edge. So this is a Chinese brush painting technique that I learned, so why not use it? And that's where you double load your brush. And so I'm using, you know, that yellowy white I have on there. Put a bit of medium. And then just on the tip, I'm going to just dip the very, you know, you can hardly see it, the tip with that red. And I'm just, you know, and some of it I might even just add a little bit more, because it's in the picture, it's all on this one side. But what if we had one of these petals up here? Whoops, maybe we should have more on the tip. Watch it, it's going to be too much now. And as I'm working with this brush, what's fantastic about this brush is that you can use the side of it, you can use the tip of it. So, you know, why not try different things? That's a little bit too much texture. All right, for now, I think we're going to just kind of stop for now on that. We might come back later. I'm going to just deepen that a little bit. Deepen that line. So, you know, when you're thinking about this, you're thinking about putting in lines. So it becomes a very contemporary view, doesn't it? It was really fun to, whoops, I wanted even warmer. A lot of times when I'm mixing color, that's what I'm thinking. Do I want it warm or cool? It's not, you know, oh, I want this color in it and this color. No, it's just sort of thinking about what the temperature is. So, you know, it's still wet here, so we can drag that in there. That's great. So there's a change in that line. And this one, let's just go. I'm going to, a lot of this, because it's pattern, a lot of this picture is going to be done with this smaller brush, which for me is quite different. But for now, I'm going to switch up to my bigger brush. And again, use some medium. The blue is quite lovely and bright, but I don't want to use it full strength. I'm going to gray it down actually just a little bit. And let's put in some of those lines that we see here. So there's one that goes there. Just using tip of my brush. The brush is getting kind of, I love this brush, and it's showing because it's getting a little bit mooky. I should maybe clean it. Then there's this one here. We have the vase down here. I'm going to talk about the vase because in a second, because there's some really interesting things about this vase. But for now, I'm just going to kind of place it there so I know. So I've got the flower a little bit down, a little bit lower than probably what I should have. I would have liked to have included more vase. And so one of the decisions I'm making right now is, you know, how far can I take that? But there's some nice green leaves and contrasting things happening there. Let's work on those for a bit. And that'll anchor things. That's one of our darkest areas in this picture. Now, when you're doing a painting where there's lots of high key and whites in it, as soon as you put the darks in, you're going to find what's happening is that all of a sudden things just kind of pop. And without that dark, it just doesn't quite look right. See, I'm coming around and just reshaping my the way that I see those petals, because I've lost something in there. So I don't know what I've lost. Okay, so maybe this does need to come down a little bit lower. There's this. Yeah, this is going to have to be down. Because otherwise, one of the things that I really liked about this was like this one leaf here, it looks like a shadow, and you think it's a shadow until it goes into the vase, and then you go, oh, yeah, it's not a shadow. Look what's happening there. And there's this leaf here So I'm squinting, and you know, I might come back and decide that that line that I put in, maybe it needs to be a bit darker. Some of that, you know, I really won't know until I've got everything else made. I'm really paying attention to these shapes because they're cool. They're really neat. And so, you know, you want to do that. Let's mix up a lighter green. So just by putting the ochre in this, it's light. But, you know, when I look at it, it actually, believe it or not, I think it has a bit of yellow in it and a bit of white in it. And so, yeah. And again, that brush is a really clumpy brush. I might have to go grab a different, new favorite brush. Here. I think I should do that. What do I have here? Oh, I have an Egbert. Oh, Egberts are really fun. So let's do an Egbert, okay? So lots of paint. And what I'm going to do is just with one brush stroke. Let's see. I'm going to shape it so it comes up. Could have been a bit more yellow. Sometimes you don't see that until you get it on there. And then you go, oh, that could be a bit lighter and it could be a bit more yellow. Okay. Yeah, that's good. That's what we want. And then it goes right in here and then kind of disappears. Part of this leaf is picked up. This is one of the joys of painting wet into wet, as you'll see in a second here. I can take another brush and just blend it. This comes, it's a bit warmer. This tucks under. It's kind of a weird shaped leaf, but we're going to stick that in there. You might have to come back, and you'll notice sometimes on the edges, you know, right now this is all hard edge. You know I'm not going to be happy with that. So I'll come back to it because so much of this is painting one into the other. It's not a matter of just finishing and saying, okay, yeah, it's done. My lovely edge that I tried to get here is gone. So let's just take some time to finesse it a little bit. This dark stuff here, actually, it has a different shape than what I've got it drawn as. So I will be coming back to that too as well. For the shadow in here, I'm going to take into my puddle. I'm just pulling in some red. I'm actually using phthalo green. It's not something I always put in, but just I thought, gee, this is going to make this a little bit quicker for us today because we are going to be trying to, you know, paint everything in one go. And then this comes over. Okay, that's better. I choked up on that brush a little bit. That's not good. Let's set in that white of the inside of the vase. This is a vase my brother gave me when we were both quite young. And he bought it from Chinatown. And it's before he he even thought that one time his wife would be from Hong Kong. So I always kind of laugh at that. It's like he had a premonition. So with my lovely sister-in-law, she's so sweet. Okay, so here we go. We're coming in this way, this way. You know, you always say, you know, she's sweet because, you know, she does have to live with my brother. And so I'm always teasing her. We had a family Zoom call with all my cousins who I just adore. And Jenny is very shy, so, you know, she doesn't say anything. And I was teasing her that, you know, are you okay? Not if you're okay. Are you being held against your will? So she thought that was kind of funny. So, but this, as I said, this vase is, and I can't remember if he bought it for me from Lethbridge or from here. And I think it might have been from Lethbridge. So there was a great, I don't know if there still is, there was a great little Chinese area in Lethbridge. And in art school, all of us used to go get our brushes from this lovely fellow. And he quite liked art students, so he was very kind. He had inherited the store from his parents, and so there was all these bottles and bottles of Chinese medicines, and he said he didn't even know what they were. So now when we're modeling, and I kind of wish I had left more of that in there, so that's for the next one. But what happens in underneath here for the vase, and if you were looking at that, the shading, the darker part of the vase is going to be on the outside of it. And then, there's a little bit of a shadow here. And then the light is hitting more of the the front, because remember, your light is right in front. Probably one of the easiest ways to do one of these type of paintings, I should have a bigger brush for this. The easiest way to do one of these paintings is to take your flash and set it up, in a dark room, have everything set up, and then take your flash and take a picture of it. Of course, the difficulty with that is going to be in the whoops, everything's going to look washed out, because that's just how these things look. And this is lower on the original, but I'm just going to put a little highlight there just to show that we're in front. That gives us a little bit of a hint. That's the word I'm looking for. Okay, so we're going along pretty good here. I don't know how long this has been, but all right. Now, as I said, with that petal, it bothers me that it's like that. So I normally would take this and flip it around, but I'm not going to today. I'm loading up, and then this is why I would flip it, is that, just I get a better stroke. I can stroke down instead of up, but I'm just going to soften that a little bit. And there is a turn there because the petals are turning down, but it's so faint. But, this painting is all about those subtleties. So let's put that in there where there's going to be a little bit of a turn. So I want this part to be different than that part. And the same thing here. I can see also a place where I can add another line here. And, I'm going to hold off on that, though, until later. Just by resetting those petals, you get a nicer edge. And that's what we're all about. Nice edges. Pretty edges. Okay, let's keep moving along here. So there's a bit of a highlight here. I can come in later with those highlights. I don't know why I'm doing them now. It's because I'm afeared of going in. Let's see, I messed up there because I had that nice flat color. And a lot of times when you're painting these, you look at your setup, and that's what you're going to see, are flat areas of color. And then I kind of messed it up. My goodness. There's just an indication. I don't want to put too many details in this leaf because I don't want it to distract us, but I do want people to know, oh yeah, that is a leaf. And there are some lovely little highlights in it, veins in it. Okay. You'll notice that when I did all those darks, I really made an effort to take and kind of put things together, link the darks together. And I've been really working on that lately. That's something, because we were talking about pattern the other day, and that's something you want to do with your patterns. You're looking for those patterns within your still life, within the landscape. And we want to start thinking visually. We're talking about shape. And so it's important to look at this and try to figure out, okay, where are those shapes? Where do I see them? Okay, so there's this. I've cropped the picture. Some of you might have noticed that. And so just to fit it on, because I actually made the flower bigger. And that's okay. I was just so excited about painting that peonies. It's actually it's one of Nora's peonies that she gave me years ago when she was moving to Australia, and it's been pouting for so long, and so I'm really excited that it's just starting to bloom. It's not in a very nice place, and I keep thinking, well, maybe I should move it, and then it's like, oh, the poor thing. You know, maybe you should just leave it alone because they really don't like being moved. Okay, and then there's another part here, and you know, I'm going. Oh, this brush is not good. I keep grabbing it because it's one I like. Sometimes, so if your brush doesn't work, like that one usually is pretty good, but right now it's not doing it. Just grab a different one. This is a soft one, and those brushes are really good for putting in curves. So let's just push this over a little bit. Okay, good. I'm at the edge. And here we're gonna pull that in. There's another one of these. That one I did a little bit too big. Okay, so that's okay. So I'm going to be painting in between those places too, because that's a really good way to activate. So many times when you have paintings like this with all that's going on in this painting, what happens is people tend to just, you know, paint the background and then paint the stuff on top. And I'm going to paint around some of these shapes, and that way I can kind of reshape some of those shapes that I see in there. Okay, I'm going to paint over that line. I don't know, I might change it. I'm looking at it and kind of going, gee, that line is in kind of a weird place. There is supposed to be a leaf up here. That's what I'm missing. Okay, and then there's a little thing that's hiding there. This was too big over here, so we'll just paint the shape that I see. So this pattern actually is from a scarf that I just bought. Whenever I go drop work off in Black Diamond, there's a lovely little store next door, and she gets a lot of her stuff from Tibet. And I had bought, and I went in to look for a scarf, a present for my mother-in-law who's turning 98. She just turned 98, which is amazing. And you know, what do you buy a 98-year-old woman? So she has everything other than books. You can buy her books because she loves that. But I went in and I ended up buying a scarf for her, and then of course one for me. So